Greetings, everyone. Angelina Hirsch as the Athena the Witch 13. Glad you could join me today. I have some subjects actually that I would want to talk about today with you, going to astrology, tarot, witchcraft. And I have some books here also that I've been reading. I'm an avid reader. I love to do that. So here we go. Let's look at it this way. I'm all lopsided here, but that's okay. This is my colorful hat. It doesn't stay on, but whatever. Okay. I'd like to start off with astrology. And some of you may be very good in astrology. Some of you may not have much understanding of astrology, maybe more than or less of the generic astrology, the astrology that you find in magazines, in the back of a magazine or a newspaper, and it tells you your sign, and you look at that and you go, oh, I can see a little bit of this in me. Yeah. Well, that's true. There's a little bit of that. But if you really want to know things about yourself, what your weaknesses are, what your strengths are, how do you find maybe the right person to be with? You need a natal chart done. You do. And there is a natal chart that I recommend. I recommend so many of her things, but Meredith, she's on YouTube. And not only does she do astrology and tarot, but she's into so many areas and in depth. Okay. It's not one of your online tarot or astrological reports. She really takes the time to do your birth natal chart. Okay. And it's in color, and she will email it to you. I had mine done. What you need for a birth natal chart is the day you were born, where you were born, city, state, time you were born, AM or PM. Sometimes you don't have the time that you were born, and so it's kind of like a 2-hour difference. Meredith will tell you, for example, she always thought, she didn't have her exact birthday timing, and everything pointed to her being a Virgo with what she put in. But she said, no, I'm not a Virgo. I don't feel like a Virgo. And she did some research, and she found who she was. And she said, that resonates with me. I can understand that. So if you don't know exact time, try and ask relatives. Look at a birth certificate, maybe, to see, like if your parents are, excuse me, deceased, try and ask family members, what they think more or less time you were, born. You have that 2-hour window period that you can key into. And what does astrology do for you? Well, a lot of astrology that you find online, they will tell you, for example, well, let's say I'm a Virgo, so I'm an earth sign, okay? And my husband was Gemini, so he's an air sign. People will tell you, it's not going to work. Why? Well, you're earth, he's air. What do you have in common? And I said, we got one big thing in common. What's that? We both have Mercury in our chart. I have it in Virgo. He has it in Gemini, which is communication, okay, exploration, learning. And we both have a desire for all of that. And what do we say? Communication in a relationship is really necessary in order for you to get along. Every match, whether, for example, you hear astrology people say, oh, well, if you are earth, okay, you get along with water, but you don't get along with fire or air. Or if you are fire and air, you'll get along, but you won't get along with fire and earth, for example. But it all depends on where the planets are in your chart. That's why you need a natal chart. And that's your birth chart. Now, if you're looking for compatibility, like I met someone and he's a nice person, I know what his sign is, I don't know if, this would be a good match. Ask him for location of his birth, city and state, date and time, when he was born, okay, and do a composite chart, which Meredith also does. She also does a progression chart. I mean, she's so versatile. So basically, you can find out where your weaknesses lay with you and your partner in a composite chart, where you need to put more emphasis on maybe communicating better, or when he is in his mode where he's quiet and withdrawn, how should you be? Okay, do you wait until he comes out of his mode and then, discuss things together? Or do you interrupt his mode? Not always a good idea, especially with men, because they're not multitaskers in general. But I'll take, for example, my husband and I am an introvert. Yeah, I am. I can be an extroverted sometimes, but for the most part, I think I'm an introvert. My husband, being the Gemini, he's an extrovert. He's the life of the party. He loves to be around people in public. He will talk about anything and everything to anyone who he doesn't even know. I never understood that one, but okay. He would volunteer me for things that I didn't even know about. People would come to me and say, oh, thank you, Mrs. Kirsch, for volunteering for this. And I go, oh, I did? Oh, yeah, your husband told me. I go, okay. He's a gossiper. Usually women are gossipers. He's a gossiper. Okay. He loves to gossip. He likes to know every little thing about what's going on. And then, of course, put his 2 cents in it. He's very cerebral. Okay. And I'm talking to you about him in the present. And my husband passed, actually, it'll be 14 months on the 13th. My lucky number. But he was a fun-loving guy. He was witty. He was quick. He had the gift and garb of the Irish, but he was German background. But there was Irish in the family. Very witty, very funny. I think that was one of the things that attracted me to him, his wit, that smile, that I call him devil eyes. He had this gleam in his eyes. Trouble. Mm-hmm. But yeah, master of many trades. He was a great historian. Um, he loved photography. He learned it from his father. And so he was very close to nature. He'd love to go and take pictures of sunsets, of sunrises, of I got him into birds because I love taking photos of birds, bald eagles, hawks, and owls. Um, Flowers. I got him into taking pictures of flowers. So, I mean, he was a very skilled person in photography. And we got along pretty well for the most part. But he was a twin, okay? And it was like having two persons in one. One minute you can have a happy-go-lucky guy, and within seconds that could go poof, and he become very somber, cool, withdrawn. And those are the times that you need to watch out for, because they're the brooding times. They're the times where if they're bored, it's a dangerous time for any Gemini to be bored. They always have to be doing something, because if they're not, they're getting themselves in trouble. And so what is the key? And the answer to that, keep them busy. Okay? They can be your best enemy, and they can be your worst enemy. Don't think you have one up on them if you're in an argument with them and you treat them ill. They'll get back at you in ways that you won't even think of. Mm-hmm. Yeah. They don't forget. Mm-mm. But on the other hand, Geminis are quick to forgive. Okay? They don't forget, but they're quick to forgive, which is a nice part to have. I would say that I am different in many ways. I have boundaries. He didn't have boundaries. He just didn't have boundaries. I am very particular, very analytical, very down to earth. I'm not, well, I'll get to that part in a bit. What you see with me is what you're going to get. And I make no apologies. I don't hold grudges. So I share that with my husband. I will forgive, but I won't forget. There's an old saying, shame on you for what you did to me the first time, but if I allow you to do it again, shame on me. Okay? So I go by that golden rule. Okay? I would say that you just can't take the sign that you're born under, because you have a polarity, an opposite to your sun sign. And my polarity is Pisces. Talk about turmoil. It's the one with the two fish tied together going in opposite directions. And so being a Virgo who's so analytical, so down to earth, so practical and organized, here comes Pisces, which wants to throw all that to the wind and make me indecisive. And I have to argue with the two, Pisces, on the other hand, is very compassionate, very healing, very loving, very empathetic, and yeah, is out there. So I understand that part of my husband. Um, and at a very early age, I was drawn to the mystical. I guess you could call it the occult. Um, and that's not far to understand because both my grandmother, my mother, and my aunt were also into that, but they didn't treat it the same way I do. They would never call themselves witches, okay? They would call themselves healers, Christian healers. So I come from a Christian background. I went to Catholic school all the way to my master's degree. Even though I fell out of love with religion per se since I was about 14. And that's also about the time that I started to delve into mystical aspects of witchcraft. And when I say this to you, I say that I'm not against people believing in religion, okay? That's for them, all right? It did not resonate with me anymore. I felt that I was lied to. There was many untruths being told and fabricated by a system that I believe would never do that. Yeah. So I put it out and said, you know what? I don't need this anymore. I want to be more spiritual. I want to be more in nature, in tune with nature. I want to discover things in nature that maybe I've never seen before, to help me relate to other people, to the job that I do, which has been my life in hospice for the most part. Um, so I'm very empathetic, and I deal with a group of people that are terminally ill and their families. And so I have to be very understanding of the situation, and having gone through it twice, well, 3 times myself. Once when my son died, my first husband, and my second husband. So life has not been what I would call kind to me all the time. But for whatever reasons, and I think I was put here for a reason, like we all are. And with the good times comes the bad. You can't have one without the other. And those bad times are really necessary for us to grow, to learn, for our soul. And it's how we approach them and how we deal with them that makes a huge difference. Okay. So I remember starting out, both my sister and myself would get cards ready for my grandmother and my mother to do readings on people. But they used the regular playing cards, which I never got into. But when I first saw, and I was about 14, the Rider-Waite deck cards, I fell in love with them because they were just so mystical. There was so much in these cards that you could take and analyze and draw from and put together, and it was just marvelous. And I teach tarot, and I tell all my clients that I want you to start with the Rider-Waite deck card, because if you can read those cards, you can read any deck cards. So that was my first attraction to the tarot. And I give readings. If you want a reading from me, we can do it online. You can contact me at my email number, which would be address rather, KIRSCHANGELINA, the number 2, at gmail.com. And we can set up a time to either Zoom or over the phone, whatever you would like. I don't like to go and do readings on TikTok. I'm a different reader. And you can choose what type of reading you want. I usually do the Celtic spread, and depending on the reading, I can go from $20 to $40, and that's it. I don't go higher than that. I am very well known up north where I lived, so I have a following up there, and I've started to do one down here in South Jersey. So I do get busy. So, send me a line, drop me a line in my email, let me know what you would like, and I will answer you and let you know what my availability is, okay? And I accept credit cards. I can do that over the phone, not a problem. So getting back to the astrology and the tarot, they do come together. You will find that in the tarot cards, there are 78, 22 major iconic cards, which means hidden knowledge. And then the 58 that, are 56, I'm sorry, that are the minor, which are your most mundane, everyday type of knowledge that comes from them. And then you have the knights and the page and the courts, the king and the queen and all that. And of course, they have a higher meaning. If you have a page, that's more like a child, 13 years old to 13. If you have a knight, that's older in the 20s. And then, of course, if you have a king, that's a gentleman who's of middle age. I would say 40 to 50 and beyond, and the queen as well. So a lot of times people will see in the tarot cards 3 cards that really cause them to go, ugh. And that would be the death card, the tower card, the devil card, and sometimes another card, 4, the judgment card. And when I get into those, I explain what they mean. They don't mean what they look like. Okay? But why astrology? Why tarot? Because you get the best of the both. The astrology will tell you certain things about yourself, what to look out for, how you can avoid certain circumstances, what's a good time to make a deal or not, or to sign a contract or not, that kind of thing. And the tarot cards will give you an in-depth reading of what's going on in the here and now. Now, when I say that, people think, and I don't ask people what their question is, because when I do readings, I do it from a very higher arcade. So I bring in my archangels, Michael, Gabriel, Uriel, and Raphael, and my guides. And I ask them to help me read the card, give me insight into what's going on here. Because while you have the cards in front of you, okay, you have to draw a story from what's going on. Okay. And sometimes I will get, for example, a reading, okay? And that reading will be difficult. And I'll ask my guide, which way should I go with this? And I'll get an answer. Now, you may say, well, I was hoping that you would say this, this, and this, and you didn't. And I will tell you that I am giving you the information that I am getting from the cards with my guidance from my spirit guides, my angels. And this is not where you're supposed to be focusing right now. This is where you're supposed to be focusing. Get this done first, and then that will play in afterwards. But right now, they want you to pay attention to this. Come back to me 3 months, 6 months later, and tell me, okay, what we discussed. Okay. So there's an advantage to doing your astrology. There's an advantage to doing your tarot cards. Okay. Now, sometimes people will get a hermit card and they'll go, well, what does this mean? Well, it means that, you have to pull back from what you're doing, time out, so to speak, withdraw, so that you can think about certain aspects of your life or decisions that come your way that you have to make. And you need time to recharge your batteries. We live in a very busy world. Most of us have 2 jobs. Yeah, right? To make ends meet because everything is expensive. We live a fast-paced life. And so sometimes we just have to say, enough. Let me pull back. Let me think for a while what's going on with my life. Let me take account of where I need to be focusing because things aren't working out too well right now. So what am I not doing that I'm supposed to be doing? Okay. That's the other thing. And I would love for you to join in if you have anything that you would like to ask me while I'm on, any questions. Now I get into a little bit of the witchcraft. Okay. Now I know witchcraft is, especially for those who are just starting out, they want to start with the spells right away. That's not the way to go. Okay. Get yourself some good books first. Okay. Get yourself a mentor. And a book like this, Book of Practical Witchcraft by Pamela Ball, really is a comprehensive book on spells, rituals, occult, and knowledge. This book is very informative, okay? And you can be a starting witch. You can be a medium witch, mediocre. Sometimes you're in it, sometimes you're not. And this can be for witches of all grades, okay? It gives you a good look at how to start. You want to, cleanse yourself. You want to cleanse your area of where you're going to do your spells. Now it talks about all these things that you can buy, cauldron, compass, incense burner, bosom, bowline, athemi, all that stuff. You don't have to. Okay. You really don't have to. What you need to do, get this out of my eyes, I can't see. It's the wrong side of my face. There we go. All right. You can take a bowl Now, these are items that I only use for witchcraft. So these are kitchen items that I took from my kitchen, but I only use them for my spells, okay? So I'll have a saucer for water. I'll have one for earth. I'll have a knife, replacing my athemi, okay? I'll have crystals, okay, that represent the north, the south, the east, the west, okay? Um, what else will I have? Let's see. You can draw a pentagram, or you can buy a little tablecloth pentagram and then put your items where they're supposed to be. For example, as an incense burner, you can get one that's really cheap at the dollar store, for example. Okay. A wand. You can use the index for a wand, or you can make your own wand. And again, what you make, if you make a wand, it's going to be more powerful than if you purchased one, because you put your energy into it. Okay. Pen and ink. Some of the rituals I do, I will write on bay leaves. Okay, so I usually use a very thin marker, black marker, that works the best. And you have to be careful, because if your bay leaves are too dry, they're going to break. So you want to keep them moist so you can write on them. You need a pestle and a mortar when you, have herbs that you have to crush. Okay. If you don't have that, you can you can take a bowl, and you can take an object that you have around the house in the kitchen that will be used as a crusher. But you can find these also at the dollar store pretty cheap. So yeah, everything can be bought cheaply. Okay. Now, crystals. You see these tiny crystal bottles. Let me see. I don't have my here with me right now. Let me see where it is. Let me go and see where they are. Okay, so no. And some of these are what I want to put down here. You can look at that. I just have so much stuff here that I have to move things around to get to. The room is getting really tight. So you can get these little crystals like this. Now, this one was $6. Okay. Now, you can go online. Okay. And that I bought in a store, because I do buy things in the neighborhood because you have to support your community. But there are also times that, it's a little bit too expensive and I have to go online. So this is Persian agate. Okay. This is garnet. Let me see if you can see that garnet. Okay. This is red jasper. Okay. So I have a whole box of these. Okay. And I got them online, and they really were not expensive at all. Now, why do I use these? Well, when I'm doing a spell, I will put them in a candle um, and some herbs, depending on the type of spell I want to do. And I'll light it. And while it's lit, I'll bring all of this towards me in thought and fruition and think of what it is that I want to come. And I'll say that it's here. I am wealthy. I am rich. I am abundant. My abundance flows to me. I'm just giving you an example, right? So, what you need to say is in the here and now. I am worthy. I'm a good person. I am worthy of abundance. But money come, money grow, money flow. And you keep on saying this. That's just one thing. But I use the crystals in my candles. I use herbs with them. I anoint my candles with my own anointing oil that I make. And that's how I do my rituals. And, you are going to need a little cup of water also that you're going to use, okay? For water is the element for the West. That's where you're going to put that. And fire, you could use, I like to use oh my goodness, uh, the incense burner, for my fire, okay? Or an incense sticking, up, and that'll be placed at the south, okay? And the element of air, which is the east, okay? So, and that's associated with the color yellow. Um, so I may use a citrine in that position, okay, to the east. And the earth direction, of course, the element there is the north, okay, and that color is associated with green. So, but if I have earth, that'll be enough. But I could also put a green stone there also. So that's that. And I mean, it's like candles, the same thing. Your candles. Now, you can have all the candle colors you have. And know that if you don't, if you only have white, then that's fine because all of the colors are represented in the white candle. So you don't have to go crazy and buying all these different colored candles. But if you want to and you get it at a good price, go for it. In candle magic, okay, humans discovered the ability to control light, okay? And this is one of the oldest forms of magic, okay? As well as one of the most simplest ones, okay? Using candles, I'm cold here, I'm sorry. Using candles to symbolize ourselves and our beliefs means that we have access to a power beyond ourselves, okay? Candle magic also forms an effect backup, if you will, okay, for most other forms of magical workings. So you can have candles going too, no problem, all right? Herbs, well, the herbs are magic and is often side of many other forms of magic. So use as talisman, you could do that. As amulets, you could do that. You make these little pouches things and you can wear them. For example, in a pouch or a bag, all right? Herbs become protective. I'm wearing that I'm going to be working in an area with people that I don't know, so I don't know what their energy is. So I'm going to want to protect myself. So I'll make these little bags of herbs and pouches, um, and as a protective method. And oil from herbs can also be used in candle magic, like I said. Okay, there are many different types of herbs available. Oh my gosh. There is a store where they have a huge selection of herbs already, chopped and grinded, and they're in plastic bags, and they have the name on it. So know that use what you have at home. If a spell calls for something and you have most of the ingredients, but you're missing one, look up what that ingredient is and then look up what you can substitute for that you do have at home. Okay? Because being a witch is using everything that you have. It's not just, going out buying everything to do the spell. It's take what you have at home and use it. Okay, we use everything. Actually, I have to watch because my room here is getting so full with items that are dear to me, that there's no more room for anything. And I always find something I want to buy and put here, but I have no room. My black cat is sleeping right here. I'm sorry, sweetheart. Okay. So each herb has its own specific, use, but frequently is used along with many other herbs and oils, and it produces a desired outcome, the result that you want. When you do a spell, you want that spell to be repeated every day to give it that energy. Okay. Um, so at the end of 3 months, if you haven't seen your spell working, well, sit back and go over it again. Maybe you're missing something. Maybe you didn't put the intention the way as specific as you wanted it to be, and start over. Okay. Because that's happened to me. And I did the same thing. I started over. And I will tell you that we were looking to buy this house, and we had many buyers for the other house. They just didn't want to pay. We didn't ask for an exorbitant rate, but a normal rate that the house was for. And then I started doing my ritual, and it wasn't working, and I couldn't understand why it wasn't working. And once I sat back and looked at everything, I said, oh, maybe I didn't do this. Maybe I was supposed to do that. So let's start over. Okay. Let's start over. All right. So yes, so you have to try different things to get the desire that you want. Okay. Okay. So there are a lot of things. Choosing your candles. Okay. That's a big one. All right. So you want to charge your candle, the candle that you chose. And there are all kinds of candles out there, all types of shapes, all colors. Okay. You want to charge the candle that you purchased, okay, before using it. And this can be done by anointing it with oil associated with the magic you intend on performing. Okay. So simply by touching it and filling it with your own energy will charge it. Okay. The oils used in anointing of your candle should, when possible, okay, always be natural fragrances, okay? While charging your candle, smooth from top to bottom. When drawing energy towards you, you want to do bottom up. So I'm anointing my candle. I'm going to go from the top to the bottom. Do I have a candle here? Let me see. Well, again, I have to, isn't that funny? I went all the way over there, and here I have some more of these. Oh my God. I told you I got so much stuff, I don't know where it is. Okay, let me see. Get my candle. So here I have what I was saying before, my candles. Okay, so I keep them in here, keeps them good. All right. So if I'm going to run down the oil on my candle, I want to go from the top to the bottom. Make sure I get them all. But then if I want to draw something to me, I'm going to go from the bottom to the top, from the bottom to the top, from the bottom to the top, from the bottom to the top. Okay? So that's how you do that. And like I said, you don't need all those candles. Okay? You really don't. But I kind of like them. I think they bring, color to what I do. So I like them. Okay, so now you want to dress and charge the candles. Okay, and perhaps candle magic in its simplest form, dressing a candle, performs two functions, really. So by anointing it with oil, okay, you ensure that it burns safely, okay? And you also have the opportunity to infuse it with the required vibrations, okay, for your working. Okay, so what you're conjuring up inside of you, that spell that you want to cast, you have that ability to start doing that with your candle, okay? Charging the candle ensures you fix the intent. That is the most important thing out of all the work that you're doing here is your intent, okay? All right? So your intent for your magical working and also dedicates the candle to the purpose that it's meant to perform, okay? So, I mean, you could use oil. I mean, I make my own oil. I think my oil is, I think I made it with, here's my oil. I keep it in here, okay? All right, anointing oil. Now, I have to shake it, okay, from time to time, okay, because otherwise it resolves all on the bottom, But I've had this oil for a long time. It smells so good. Yeah. So again, that's my anointing oil. Okay. You could use essential oil. You could use the frankincense oil or the myrrh, that too, or perhaps an oil infused with a suitable herb preparation, at hand. There are so many ways to dress the candle. Okay. So what will you need? You'll need a candle and oil. Sit quietly and hold the candle. Think carefully about what your intent is, okay? If you have learned to meditate, then enter a meditative state and allow the energies to build up within you, okay? To bring something to you, okay, rub oil on the candle, like I said, in a downward motion from the top to bottom, okay, and from the bottom to the middle. And then send something away from you. You want to get rid of something, you feel that someone has the evil eye on you or something like that. You want to send it away. So you want to rub the oil from the middle of the candle out to the end. Okay? From the middle of the candle out to the end. Middle candle out to the end. So you continue with either movement until you have a sense that you have done enough. Okay. It's just like when you're playing the tarot cards, you're shuffling them until you feel you shuffled enough. Okay. If you have any oil left, okay, on your hands, either rub your hands together until the oil is absorbed, or dab the remaining oil from your fingers, okay, onto the center of your forehead. And I like to do the pentagram, okay, which is the third eye and the seat of vision. And then say the following or something similar to it, like, I cleanse and concentrate this candle. And then in the name of, if you're using a deity, or if you choose to use an angel or God, all right? Um, and then may it burn with strength in the service of the greater good. You always want to say the greater good, okay? Your candle is now ready to use, okay? All right, so I think we handled the candle thing, okay? So let's see what else I have for you here. Okay, so now let's say, for example, oh, everything's falling down here. Let's see. So, like I said, candle colors. Basically, all of these candles can be represented in one white candle, okay? Why use white? Well, for the goddess, if you're praying to the goddess, the higher self, purity, peace. Black candle, okay, is used for binding. You want to bind two things together, okay? Shape shifting, changing shape, huh? Protection. Black candle for protection. Black candle also repels negativity, okay? So, what I have here, yeah, I'm breaking everything, is my black candle, okay? Oh, it smells so good. It's disgusting that it smells so good. I'm going to light it. Where did I put? Oh, here it is. Here we go. All right. This is a Yankee candle. It's Midsummer's Night. That's what they call it. I got this on sale. This normally is $16.99. I got it for 8 something. So being as big as it is, I said it's worth it. But I usually don't go for that high price candles. I usually look for something a little bit more affordable. Here I am breaking the house. Okay. All right. So that's a black candle. Binding, shape shifting, protection, repels negativity. Brown. What is brown for? Okay. Special favors, that you want to influence friendship, maybe, or healing earth energies. Okay. Earth could always use some healing. And the orange candle would be for general success, property deals, legal matters, justice, selling. Okay, so that's your orange candle. Your purple candle, I like the purple candle. I do. That's your third eye. Okay, your psychic abilities. Okay, hidden knowledge. All right, to influence people in high places, spiritual power, and blue. I like purple and blue. I don't know. Those are my colors. The element of water. Well, I understand that because of my Pisces. I'm a water sign, polarity, and it's also my ascending sign. Wisdom, protection, calm, good fortune, opening, communication. Remember blue for communication, voice, spiritual inspiration, that kind of thing. And then you go into pink. So pink is for affection. It's for romance. It's for caring. It's for nurturing. Care for the earth planet. Okay. And then you have green. The element of the earth is represented by green. Now, I live in the Garden State, New Jersey. And I am besides myself when I drive through the backwoods and I see trees being bulldozed down to make room to build these big complexes. I mean, I know everyone needs to live someplace, but it's ridiculous the amount that is being done. These trees that are being bulldozed, and pretty soon, I don't know if we can call it the Garden State anymore, to be quite honest with you. But my heart goes out every time I see that. So green is for the element of earth, it's physical healing, for monetary success, Mother Earth, and trees and plant magic. So if you have a plant and you want your plant to do well, put a stone, a green stone, crystal, yeah. It's for growth, it's personal goals. Red. I like red. I drive a red car. But if I wear red on me, I have to cut it with another color because I can become aggressive. Not good. That mouth gets me in trouble all the time. Well, red, the element of fire. Okay, so passion, strength, fast action. Oh, yeah. Career goals. Love. Ever see when Donald Trump was running for president, he was always wearing a red tie? There's a reason for that. Power. Yeah. That's what red is for. Silver. Now, that is my metal, silver. I resonate with the moon, which is also, we'll get into that sometime, but the moon also relates to the relationship you have with your mother. Okay. I didn't have that close bond relationship. My mother, I had it with my father. I always felt bad that I didn't, but there was probably a reason for it that I don't know now. Maybe one day I will. Okay. But yeah. So silver has always been my color, my metal. It's for the moon goddess. Okay. Astral energy, feminine power, telepathy, clairvoyance, intuition, dreams. Now, I have not had, well, I'm not going to say I haven't had any dreams because I don't remember my dreams, but I believe we all dream, okay? We may not always remember what we dream of, but I believe we all dream, okay? Um, so, yeah, when I had something terribly happen years ago, I had a premonition, but I was not able to put it together. And when it happened, I realized that this premonition was not for me, it was for my niece. And I lost her in labor. She died 22 years old, and it was devastating for me. My only niece, I remember screaming out. And I said at that point, I said, don't give me anything if I can't help, if I can't stop it. Why torture me? And a friend of mine who is no longer of this earth plane, Psychic George, said to me, you weren't supposed to intervene. That was her call. I said, well, why did it come to me then? Why wasn't I able to put it together? Why couldn't I stop it? Stop it. This was her destiny. So why did it come to me? So that it wouldn't be such a blow. Oh, it was a blow, all right. You know. And then I remember saying out loud, I don't want anything else to come to me. I'm done. And with that, I didn't. I didn't have anything come to me. Be careful what you wish for. Now, I am trying to get clairvoyance back. I know is that feel that I'm ready for it, but I think I am. I think I matured. Oh God, when did she pass? I think she passed in 1998. Okay. So that was a long time ago. And I think I matured. I've learned a lot since then. And I feel that I'm ready. But I'll leave that to the powers that be. Let's go to copper. Okay, so copper is for professional growth, okay? Business productivity, career maneuvers, passion, money goals. And then you have gold. And so, of course, gold is going to resonate with the sun god, okay? Promote winning, male power, happiness, yellow. Now, that is the color for Geminis, yellow. Cerebral, remember? Mm. The element of air, okay? Intelligence, the sun, Mercury, imagination, supported by logic. Well, they don't always use logic. Okay. Accelerating learning. Okay. Clearing mental blocks. Clearing mental blocks. Interesting. Oh. So, I mean, these are things with the candles. I'll go into now what I would say. Oh, and if you want, we'll get into the way the flame on a candle burns, what it means. Okay, so we can do another chapter on that. Okay, crystals. There are many crystals that can be used in magical workings, and as you become more practiced in spell making, okay, and more interested in their various abilities and attributes, you will discover for yourself that certain crystals resonate for you more than others. I can go into a store where there are crystals and I can look around and I don't feel called by any of them. Don't despair. It's just not the time. Okay. On the other hand, I can go into a store and look at crystals and one will call out to me and I'll pick it up and I'll buy it. Okay. So it all depends. All right. So, for example, where is it? You know, I'm telling you, like I said, I got so many things, so many places. I don't know where they are. Okay, there we go. I just blew that one. Yeah, I don't know where it fell. We'll find out. There. I saw this and it called to me. And I just love it. You know, I just love it. And I put it up here so I don't damage it. I don't know where the other one fell, but I'll have to look for it. Okay. So crystals are such, I thought I found it. Oh, fundamental part of spell working. And with so many levels of awareness inherent in them, that it is well worth taking the time to learn as much as you possibly can about them in order that you can use them in whatever way is appropriate for you. You might, for instance, like to place a large crystal of, say, rock quartz or on your altar, for example. Uh, There you go. This is a big crystal. Yeah. I love my crystals. And it's the full moon. So I couldn't find the full moon last night. I went out in the backyard, couldn't see it. I went in the front, I couldn't see it. I don't know why. I don't think it was cloudy, but I couldn't see it. But I'm going to put them out tonight. Hopefully I'll see it tonight. And so you might want to, for instance, place a large crystal, quartz crystal, on your altar, as a representative of, earth, the earth element, because these crystals are made in the earth and they've been there for thousands of years, um, and all its power and goodness. On the other hand, you may wish to wear a crystal. I have a crystal pendant. I have many crystal pendants and in different colors, Someday I'm attracted to wearing the clear quartz. Some days I want to wear the pink quartz. Some days I want to wear the aquamarine quartz. I mean, go on, And some days I'll just wear the pentagram and all of the crystals on the pentagram. Yeah. On the other hand, you may want to wear and charge it. Make sure you charge it. Okay. Using techniques for finding crystals, okay, and being open to them, okay. Finding you are the best way of obtaining a crystal because Our lives are so busy. Okay, many of us will come into contact with crystals only as a gift or in a commercial environment. You, I can't talk anymore. You may acquire them by various means. You may walk into a store and choose a crystal, or you may go online. The thing with online is, and I'm not saying that the crystal can't call out to you from online, but I like to feel it. I like to touch it. I like to see if I resonate with it, you know? The best way to know if the crystal is right for you, stand in front of a group of crystals. Close your eyes. Open your eyes quickly and pick up the first crystal you see, or one that attracts you in any way. So close your eyes, open, first crystal you see, pick it up, or if that's not it, look and see what crystal attracted you. When holding a particular crystal or running your hands over it, okay, you may find that your hands tingle a bit, okay, or you have some other physical reaction. This is usually meant to say, okay, I'm yours. I was meant for you. hmm At other times, you may feel drawn to a crystal without even knowing why. Okay. The crystal may not hesitate. Okay. And it's for you with no specific reason. If you are choosing a crystal for a specific purpose, okay, meditation, healing, and so forth, hold that purpose in mind as you choose your crystal. Okay. Usually you will sense an energy, a reaction from a particular crystal. Perhaps it's in the form of a tingling sensation or heat or a flash of light. That's happened too. And then you want to cleanse that crystal, okay? And there are a couple of ways you can do that, really. It all depends on the intent that you have, okay? You can simply hold the crystal, okay, in your hands while consciously thinking that it will be used only for good or during meditation. You could also call upon your deities if that's who you work with. I work with my angels. If you wish, using your own ritual, you can do that too. There are many different ways of cleansing a crystal. As I said, below are some principles I like to get engaged in. For example, take the crystal to the sea, cleanse it thoroughly in the seawater. Oh, I love doing that. And allow the water to wash over it several minutes. The crystal should then be lifted in. You know what I do? I put them, because I don't want to lose them. So I have some mesh bags. Okay, so I put them in here and I hold on to the ties and I put them in the water and I let the waves flow over them and everything. This way I don't lose my crystals. Okay. Um, and then you want to leave them in the sun or the moonlight, okay, whichever pleases you most, or where it can energize, all right? If you can't use seawater, okay, soak the crystals in salt water for anything from 1 to 7 days. I don't think I want to do that. But you will know instinctively, okay, how long it is needed. use the proportions, how long you want to soak it in there. What, 3 tablespoons of salt to a cup of water, let's say. And the water has to fully cover the crystals. Okay. Or you could bury your crystals, okay, in commercial sea sand, or at least 7 and up to 24 hours overnight is good. I would, if I'm down the shore, I would take a bottle like this, fill it up with sand, okay, and then bury them in the canister with the sand up until 24 hours and take them out. Easy as that. And I think I like that method better because I'll tell you why. Some crystals, if they are what they call a mole, which is how they designate the composition of the crystal. So anything less than a 6 cannot be with water. It will get damaged and fall apart. Okay. And you do have some crystals that are like that. Like, oh, where is my selenite? She got it all over the place, but of course not here. Let me see. Where are you? Here we go. I knew I had it someplace. Here. Okay. So this I would never put in water. Okay. It would damage it. Okay. So this would be a perfect one to put in the sand at the shore in your bottle and leave it there for 24 hours. That would be the perfect thing for it. Okay. And so what happens is when you leave it overnight like that, okay, to be honest, I wouldn't even rinse it. I would leave it as is. Um, I think it's a good thing. Well, I really don't want, if I'm going to put this in sand, okay, I don't want to rinse it in water. No, just wipe the sand off of it. That's all. You know, that's all you need to do. So that's one way you can do it. You can hold the crystals in your hand and blow on it 3 times real hard. And with the intent each time of cleansing it and then charging it. You can do both. You can first cleanse and then you can charge. Okay. You can program your crystal. Okay. So using very carefully what you want to program into the crystal. Okay. You have to have an affirmation, and you place the crystal on a large crystal cluster like I have here, for example. Okay. And you place it on there. And in the center of the circle of other crystals whose ends are pointing towards the center and the new crystal. Okay. And here's the pointer. All right. And you can put the crystal in the sun or the moonlight. Okay. You can do that. Or you can meditate with your intention and projecting it into the crystal on the quartz crystal. Okay. That's another, like I said, there's so many different ways, okay, to do this. So now you have so many stones. Oh my God, there's so many stones. Okay. Aventurine, citrine, the diamond, the topaz, the tourmaline, the zircon, I can't talk anymore. Chesaloni, flint, labradorite, moonstone, morganite, pearl, just so many of them. Rock crystal, mercury. So if you have Mercury in your sign like I do, all right, and all of these here, like agate would be a Mercury stone. Chrysoprase would be one. Onyx, sardonyx, serpentine, and tiger's eye. Those are all Mercury type of stones. And then Venus type of stone is Aquarian, azurite, beryl, cat's eye, coral, emerald, jade, lapis lazuli, malachite, opal, rose quartz, and turquoise. Okay, so, and then if you have Mars in your planet, okay, then you have bloodstone, hematite, jasper, okay, meganet. If you have Jupiter, you have alexandrite, blue john, calamine, carnelian, sapphire. And then if you have Saturn, you have alabaster, borax, garnet, that kind of thing. So you can use crystals for healing. You can use crystals for prosperity. You can use crystals for just about anything. Okay. So that's with that. Okay. And there are herbs. We can go into that. But basically, the herbs that you're going to work with the most are probably in your kitchen cabinet, really. You know, you have anise, angelica. That's something you might have to buy. The ash. You have basil, bay laurel. You have, okay. Caraway seeds. You have that. Chamomile, clove, clover, daisy. You would have to buy that. Dandelion. You may have dandelion in your garden. So eyebright, you might have to buy that. Frankincense, you might have to buy that. Gardenia. You've got garlic, ginger, right? So these are all mint, for example. You have that. I like mugwort. And it's ruled by Venus, okay? And it's of the element of the air. And it's probably the most widely herb used by witches. Really. It promotes psychic ability, that's why, and gives prophetic dreams. And it's very good for astral projection. Now, word of caution, okay? Are you ready for astral projection? That's another thing. And don't laugh. I'm going to try not to. But some people who have gone out there never fully came back, if you know what I mean. Yeah. So I said, you really need to be careful about it. And there are many ways. If you like incense, for example, you can make your own incense. Okay. Let's say, that's a good one. Banishing, incense for banishing, for example. You would need 1 part of a bay leaf, 2 parts of cinnamon, 1 part of a rose petal, 2 parts of myrrh resin, and a pinch of salt. So most most people have that in their house to begin with. Okay. I know that whenever I'm given roses, I let them dry and I collect the petals and I put them in a canister. Now, if you want a clearing incense, you want to clear the space in the house, you have 1 part frankincense resin, 1 part copal resin, 1 part myrrh resin, half of sandalwood. Burn this with the windows open. Okay. I have asthma. I got to be careful. So, yeah, whenever I burn anything, I have to be careful. Okay. Ending negativity. You feel that there's negativity around you. Then you want 1 part marjoram, 1 part thyme, a half a part of oregano, a quarter part of bay leaf, and 1/4 part of cloves. Burn that. Purification. You want to purify something, then you want 2 parts of sandalwood, 1 part of cinnamon, 2 parts of bay leaf, 1 part vervain, and a pinch of salt. Okay. So these are all good things. Rosemary, you can use rosemary as protection also. Uh, Sandalwood could be protection. If there's been some robberies in the neighborhood, you could use the Stop the Thief incense, which would be half a part dogwood, a 1/4 part caraway, half a part rosemary, a 1/4 part tarragon, and 1 part just by looking at someone, put a curse on them. You can, because it's your intent. I was standing in line when one of my kids was in high school getting ready to go and start the year. And this woman looked at me, and I was wearing this Celtic cross. And she looked at me with such evil eyes that the cross actually started to burn my skin. And I knew instantly she was evil. And I took the cross away. And my husband says, "What's wrong?" And I turned around and I showed him. He says, "What the hell?" I said, "Yeah." He says, "How'd that happen?" I said, "That woman was looking at me." And that's what happened. So it does happen. Okay. So there are many psychic protections that you can do, but I'll give you a simple one. This is a half a part of elder, 1 part of cinquefoil, a half a part of bay leaf, and an eighth of valerian. Okay. So, and then you have, to attract a lover, all this and that stuff. Okay. Uh, so that will do it for today. Um, if you have any questions, if you want a reading, um, just like I said, email me, kirshangelina2@gmail.com. That's capital K, lowercase IRSCHANGELINA, the number 2 @gmail.com. And I will get back to you and we can make an arrangement at a suitable time for both of us. So I bid you farewell for today. Hope you have a great day. It's very nice out. Go and enjoy the weather. Take care. So might it be. Bye bye.